Just tuning in. And I decided to record tuning in this morning. So let's see where that goes. So I have Raphael, Archangel Raphael, pushing deeply on my heart from within, so pushing from within out. And the imagery I was getting was a pine cone? Yeah, a pine cone, all completely opened and then coming into a close. And anyway, and then another one was a woman spinning, and when then she stopped this huge big dress, like everything just became streamlined. And so the message that was coming through from those was that we need to learn how to be everything and then still remain centered. So dropping into the center, into the core, into the heart of everything, and observing that there are times when it spins, there are times when it's open, and lots of things are going on. There's going to be moments where you're not like totally streamlined. There are times when reality spins, and we need to learn to play with that, learn to be the dancer spinning, and then at times regains a nice central balance, and plays with that oscillation, not withholding ourselves to such a high standard of what it is that we have to maintain, and releasing the judgment on ourselves and that we put on so many others, that we either look up to or hold as particular models of certain standards. We have to start learning that everything is spinning, always will, and that the center, when we find our center, when we enter into our heart, we become the observer of ourselves spinning. And that's the key part of this, is that when you can become the observer of everything spinning, it doesn't really, you're observing it, you're aware of the emotions that are going to come up, you're aware of how you're naturally going to be triggered, how you probably react, how you might actually react, and you start to strengthen the muscle of entering into the core of yourself, allowing yourself, no judgment, allowing yourself to witness all of these patterns playing out. And you start to see that you actually have come here with a whole set of ways that you cope, of ways that you react, of ways that you communicate. You've arrived here with all different modes and methods that you have learned or just happen to have within you as a natural response. But when you maintain that central, when you maintain that space and you stay in your heart, you stay the observer of all that's spinning from you, it becomes a little bit easier. It doesn't make it go away. And it doesn't mean that you can't engage with spinning and responding and reacting. It doesn't mean that you can't do that. You just practice, strengthen that muscle of returning back to being the witness from the center. Yeah, that was the big one that I think so many of us need to still practice that, because what's coming is that once we can strengthen that core and maintaining longevity of being in that space at the core, at the heart, being the observer, whatever, however you phrase it, being centered, when you can maintain that for good periods of time, that will start to expand. And it's the heart that will start to push out and then start to react and engage with your reality. And that's when we enter into a much greater alignment with our reality, with who we are and our reality, rather than looking at all these causes and effects and getting spun up and caught out in them. There's no judgment on if you do that. I'm just saying that once we can start to maintain that centered space for a long period of time, you'll start to see how that impacts your waking reality, in that you don't, the muscle of maintaining centeredness becomes stronger. Therefore, your reality from that heart-centered space becomes clearer, becomes a more, solid boundary of a new reality. And then now you're engaging with a new reality that's still spinning, but that has a greater, like fulcrum, a greater central point that allows you to play in that space, if that makes sense. Yeah. All right, I think, yeah. I'm going to go back in and see where we go. So the message I'm getting is that there is much, there's sadness and hardship and challenge and darkness coming. And if we can practice growing from the center out, it's like that stretching, expanding your consciousness from your heart and allowing that heart consciousness to become your new aura. So it's like that layer from within grows out. If we can maintain that, it means that we can maintain light, we can maintain, it's like a shield that will maintain us in the frequencies, in the currents that are going to come. And it's a practice that will benefit us in being able to be in that space without us getting caught up in it, entangled in it. We'll still see it, we'll still feel it, we'll still have the ability to engage with it. But unless we strengthen, stretching from the core and allowing our core center to expand out. If we can't learn to do that, we're going to find things a little bit more challenging. Getting the remembrance of that movie. What was that movie? Twilight. And Bella. I think it's one of the last ones, and they're in that like battle, and she has doesn't she have a field that she like grows out, and that is like a protective field. That's the imagery I'm getting reminded of, which is good. I like that. And yeah. Sometimes when you tune in, and it's when you feel that sense of sadness, and you feel what's coming, it's hard. And I'm someone who prefers to project a lighter side.